Our weekly immigration news roundup is brought to you by the law firm of Figueroa & Associates. For a consultation on any immigration or legal matter, please call 855-768-8845. That's 855-768-8845. For full stories and more immigration news, visit www.theimmigrantsjournal.com. That's www.theimmigrantsjournal.com.
Hello, my name is Mary Campbell, legal assistant at the law firm of Figueroa & Associates, and your presenter with this week's immigration news. Legal and political concerns surrounding the Trump administration's deportation of individuals to El Salvador without due process. In recent developments, the Trump administration's deportation of individuals to El Salvador without due process has raised significant legal and political concerns, particularly regarding the erosion of fundamental American rights. These actions have been further complicated by the human rights record of Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele. Background on third country removals and due process in the U.S. immigration system. Third country removals involve deporting non-citizens to countries other than their country of origin or habitual residence. This practice has been scrutinized for potentially violating international human rights norms, especially when individuals are sent to nations where they may face persecution or lack legal protections. In the U.S., due process is a constitutional guarantee that ensures fair treatment through the normal judicial system. In immigration proceedings, this includes the right to a hearing before an immigration judge, the opportunity to present evidence, and the ability to appeal decisions. However, mechanisms like expedited removal allow for the rapid deportation of certain non-citizens without a full hearing, raising concerns about the adequacy of procedural safeguards. Recent developments. Deportations to El Salvador. In March 2025, the Trump administration deported over 260 individuals, including Venezuelan migrants, to El Salvador's Terrorism Confinement Center, CECOT. These deportations were carried out under the 1798 Alien Enemies Act, a rarely invoked statute granting the president authority to detain and deport individuals deemed threats during wartime. Notably, many of those deported were denied the opportunity to contest their removal or review the evidence against them, effectively bypassing established due process protections. One prominent case is that of Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia, a Maryland resident with legal protection from deportation since 2019. Despite this status, he was mistakenly deported to El Salvador and detained in CECOT. The administration later acknowledged this as an administrative error, but argued that U.S. courts lacked jurisdiction to order his return. Legal implications and challenges. The deportations have prompted legal challenges and judicial scrutiny. U.S. District Judge James Boasberg criticized the administration's actions, suggesting they may have acted in bad faith by proceeding with deportations despite a court order to halt them. Boasberg is considering holding officials in contempt for defying judicial authority. Legal experts argue that these actions undermine the constitutional guarantee of due process. The use of the Alien Enemies Act to justify such deportations is unprecedented in modern times and raises questions about its compatibility with contemporary legal standards and human rights obligations. Political context. Bukele's human rights record. The situation is further complicated by the human rights climate in El Salvador under President Nayib Bukele. Since declaring a state of emergency in 2022, Bukele's government has been accused of systematic human rights violations, including arbitrary detentions, torture, and suppression of dissent. The construction of CECOT, a mega-prison intended to house alleged gang members, has become emblematic of these concerns. International organizations such as Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch have documented these abuses and called for the restoration of due process and the rule of law in El Salvador. The deportation of individuals to such an environment raises ethical and legal questions about the U.S. government's complicity in potential human rights violations. Conclusion. The Trump administration's recent deportations to El Salvador, conducted without affording individuals their due process rights, represent a significant departure from established legal norms and threaten core American principles of justice. These actions, set against the backdrop of President Bukele's troubling human rights record, underscore the need for vigilant oversight and adherence to constitutional and international legal standards in immigration enforcement.
Our weekly immigration news roundup is brought to you by the law firm of Figueroa and Associates. For consultation on any immigration or legal matter, please call 855-768-8845. That's 855-768-8845. For full stories and more immigration news, visit www.theimmigrantsjournal.com. That's www.theimmigrantsjournal.com.